Hello DC, my name is Amanda Cohen and I'm hosting today's interview. Today we have two very special guests with us. These two men had to sit for hours and hours deliberating a first-degree murder trial 5 years ago. Sitting on a trial with this magnitude is already extremely intense, but could you imagine sitting in a small, hot, and locked room with 12 angry men? I know, I couldn't. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming juror 711.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
So, how did you two react after you found out that you're sitting on a murder trial?
Oh, I was angry, to be honest. I had tickets to the Yankees game that night, and I didn't want to go waste my time on some trial for some boy I had nothing to do with, listening to people like this guy.
As for me, I was very excited to be on this case. I thought, I had the privilege and great responsibility on my shoulders. I, want to take full advantage of that. It's the beauty of democracy in this country.
And I'm sure after coming, from Germany, you really appreciated the process in general. All right, so what were your initial opinions about the trial? I know you two both initially voted guilty, but you both changed your mind in the end. So before that, why were you so, determined that he was guilty?
Well, I think the facts were there. Everybody knew he was guilty. Juror number 8 got into everybody's head, sort of, and convinced them otherwise. But I think we all know that he was guilty.
I personally don't like to be loyal to one side. I'd rather, just kind of stay in the middle. Originally, I voted guilty because that's honestly how I felt. But then, as the trial went on, I was convinced, and I had reasonable doubt.
I see. This idea of reasonable doubt, I know, sparked some tension between you two, but we'll come back to that a little later. So, what do you think juror number 8's intentions were in sparking this debate with all the jurors? He said he voted not guilty, but he said that the only reason he did that is because he wanted to hear both sides of the story. So what are your opinions on that?
Well, according to him, he had some reasonable doubt or whatever he was talking about that the boy was guilty. And I don't even know what that means, but I just think he was an idiot. He let that boy who was guilty walk free, and now he's in our society. He's a threat to society.
I can't believe he doesn't know what reasonable doubt is still after that trial. But I won't get there. Anyway, I thought juror 8 had a legitimate reason to have reasonable doubt because he had a set plan that he went into the jury room with, and he executed very well. And I thought, there was definitely some reasonable doubt in this case.
Okay, so you think that his plan, with the knife and all of that going on, he knew this is what was going to happen from the start. He planned on playing devil's advocate. Is that what you're trying to
Absolutely,
say? Yeah. Okay. So do you actually think when he first voted not guilty that he thought that, the boy was not guilty, or did he just want to, see both sides of it to honor democracy, as you were saying?
Right. I think had we gone in there and just it was 12-0 guilty, then it would have been pointless to have been in that room. So I think he wanted to hear both sides.
You still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Pardon. Maybe you don't fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean, I don't understand? Well, how do you like this guy? I'm telling you, they're all alike. They come over here running for their life, and before they can take a deep breath, they're telling us how to run the show, huh? Boy, the arrogance of this guy.
Wow, that was a pretty heated debate between you two.
I don't know who you thought you were talking to me like that. You're not even from this country.
What's that supposed to mean? You didn't know what reasonable doubt was.
I don't need a German coming into my country and trying to lecture me on whether or not I know what reasonable doubt is.
Do you know?
You shouldn't have even been on the trial.
Do you know what reasonable doubt is?
Yeah, of course.
You know what? Please explain to them what reasonable doubt is.
Well, from what I know, reasonable doubt is anything that, any piece of evidence that could really hold you back from determining that the person is guilty because, the saying, innocent until proven guilty, well, reasonable doubt is what really is the basis of that.
Thank you.
I don't see why that matters.
She wasn't even on a first-degree murder trial, and she knows what reasonable doubt is.
I think the boy was guilty. We all knew that.
Okay, settle down. It's okay. The trial's over. You made your verdict. You know, it's 5 years later, and you know what? Speaking of, it is 5 years later. So what have you two been doing?
Well, since the trial, I've lived a good life. I've been making a good living as a watchmaker, and I've actually returned to Germany since the trial. And I saw my family, and they're all doing very well. So that's good.
That's great. And how about you?
Well, I don't have much going on. I'm a Yankees season ticket holder.
Of course he does.
They're doing very well this season, so that's all that matters to me.
Okay, well, that's good. I see, you know, not much has really changed since the trial. However, maybe not for you guys, but the life of the boy, you know, his life, who was on trial, his life has completely changed. You know, it's been 5 years since the trial. He is now 21 years old, and you know, could you imagine just 5 years ago, his life was in your hands? But today, despite everybody's lack of faith, he is in college. He moved to Vermont just to get a new start. He's majoring in anthropology. I mean, you know, I don't know why, but I guess that interests him. And, you know, he's actually started to reconnect with his family, you know, his aunts, uncles, and cousins. Because, you know, his father's dead, his mother's not really around. And so those are really the only people he has left. So, hearing that, do you guys have any regrets about your, you know, decision in the trial as not guilty?
Yes. I should have convinced the rest of them that they should have voted guilty, and he should be in jail right now for what he did.
You mean executed? Yeah.
Executed,
We're not talking about jail here. Execution.
He deserved to be executed after what he did.
Okay. And
We made the right choice. I don't have to say anything more.
so, okay, so I understand that, but even after hearing everything he's done, you still think he's guilty. That there's not enough reasonable doubt, as you would say that he's not.
So the facts were there. I just wanted to get out of there.
Yankees game?
Yankees game.
Yankees game. All right. Well, you know, it has been great talking with you two.
Thank you so much for having me on the
It's
show.
great having you. Okay, well, thank you so much again. Tune in next week to hear what jurors number 8 and juror number 3 has to say. Good night, everybody.